Whew. All right, everyone. Toy Smuggler here. Give everybody a minute. I'm trying to still gather everything around, kind of see. I got pictures everywhere. I got some props behind me. I got some cool stuff to show you guys tonight and everything. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Like I said, I normally don't talk about my wrestling career, but I had a YouTuber by the name of John Michael Thompson. He told him I'd come out here, and he always asked me a lot of cool questions and everything. And tonight he actually has a top 10 for me, and I kind of glanced at it, and he's got some pretty tough ones, and I'm actually had to roll my head back a little bit and do some hard thinking because I've been retired now. Let's see here. July will be 5 years. Hey, there you are. You made it, brother. So, oh, awesome. Well, like I said, I'm going to get to your top 10 in a minute, but I'm just going to try to set things up here a little bit. And the best way to start is start in the beginning. And it all started for me way back when I was 3 years old. I knew then that one day I was going to be a professional wrestler, even though my mother was against it. My father never told me I could said I would never be physically able to do it, as I think that's the exact words he used. He's pretty rough. But at the age of 3, to kind of set the story up here, every Saturday we used to go down to my dad's mother, my grandmother's, and she didn't like me. So any chance I got to get the hell out of the house, I got out of there. Well, next door was my Uncle Bobby. He was about 5'7", about 245 pounds, of one of the toughest SOBs you ever met in your life. Kid you not. So every Saturday afternoon we used to watch NWA Championship Wrestling. We watch it for like an hour or so. When it went off, boom, we was in the middle of the living room floor going at it. And he would put me in all these crazy, he would wrestle until I would submit. And then we'd get up, I'd rest, we'd go at it again. Just constantly, he'd put me in these submission moves just to see how long I would last before I would give up. And I know that sounds crazy and everything and stuff, but you got to realize this was back about 1975 roughly. And he came from an era where when he got in trouble as a kid and got spanked, he actually got taken out to the woodshed. And this is not no dramatization here, guys. He used to get spankings with literal bullwhips. I kid you not. Either they either had to stand up on the side of the woodshed, or they had to get out there by the old tree stump, and they took lashings with the bullwhip. So my dad's side of the family is just some of the toughest guys you'll ever meet. And my dad raised me pretty hardcore, pretty rough. Little did he know he was just preparing me for the ring. so pretty crazy stuff. So needless to say, years went by, and I remember having the big dream in the 80s when I was getting into high school, wanting to be a professional wrestler. And once again, my dad was this, son, it never happened. It's a pipe dream. You're just too small. And I was too small. I only weighed at that time about 130 pounds. Real scrawny kid and everything. So see here. See, yeah, exactly. I'm not against spanking. Actually, I'm all for spanking kids. But there's a difference between spanking and beating. Okay, people. So I'm definitely for some reason the dang camera went out of focus. But there's definitely a difference between spanking and beating. So see, something wrong with my focus, guys. What the heck? Straighten up. Maybe I need just a touch more light. Let's see. Turn this camera at this light just a little bit. Maybe there's a little bit more lighting. We'll see how that goes. If it's blurry, guys, I apologize. So anyway, so the biggest mistake I've ever made was that's getting on my damn nerves. Focus, you stupid. Okay, maybe I need to get closer. Okay, whatever. But anyway, the biggest mistake I made was listening to my dad, and I wish I never did it. And the time I graduated high school and everything, I was pretty much I was your basic average loser, so to speak. That is getting on my nerves, guys. I apologize for this being blurry. We did not start off that way, so I don't know what the deal of it is. It's focusing up. It's like it went nearsighted or something. and I don't feel like getting y'all showing my dang nose hairs. So anyway, I found myself in and out of jobs, being an alcoholic, a loser, and stuff like that. And I remember sitting on the recliner one day, and Smoky Mountain Wrestling was on, and I was watching Smoky Mountain Wrestling, just being this old slug on the couch, so to speak. Well, anyway, they had a commercial come on. Would you like to be a wrestling star? Call 1-800 yada yada yada. And I thought, what the hell? What do I got to lose? So anyway, I called the number, and they said, well, we're having tryouts, and I think like 2 or 3 months down the line. I think it's 2 months. So for like 2 months, I went on a strict diet. I quit eating, drinking Cokes, all that cool stuff, running and doing push-ups every day. And next thing you know, I went and tried out, and there's 12 of us. Killer Kyle was there. Oh gosh, New Jack was there, I believe. Dirty White Boy was there. Who was the strongest man? What's his name? But I remember Dirty White Boy, Tim Horner. That he would end up being my wrestling coach, White Light and Tim Horner. So anyway, there's about 5 of those guys. So anyway, they just took turns just beating on us, just kicking our butts, making every one of us just break down. And finally, I was in the ring, and I was one of the last ones, and they ended up spending like 19 minutes just beating them. But I would never give up. So finally, Tim got pretty upset, and he gets me pretty much is what the precursor to Chris Benoit's move. Got me into that, and I finally tapped out. I thought I felt my shin crack a little bit. So, let's see, botch wrestling reference. So anyway, he pretty much just kicks me, tells me to get out of the ring. I go out there and sit down, and guy rolled me some water. I drank some water, and I drunk about half of that water, jumped back in the ring, and I remember kind of hobbling. I tapped on Tim Horner's shoulder and said, hey, I want some more. And he looked at me kind of strange. He said, okay. He said, go have you a seat. Well, anyway, he turns around. He gives everybody a big, huge speech. 10 of them got sent home, and me and one other guy passed the class that day. Go figure. So, and that's how, next thing you know, I am in professional wrestling. Started the wrestling school, so to speak. So let's see here. Oh, I know. I don't know why. Brand new camera. I've never had an issue with it so far. And there we go. That's better. I can live with that. Okay. So I'm going to answer one of your questions. Go back over here. Now, what was the worst venue I ever had to wrestle in? Well, define worse. Was it just a bad arena, or just because I would have to say, far as just being just a not a good town to wrestle in, was right down here at Calhoun. At that time, back in the late 90s, Calhoun just was not a big, for whatever reason, shouldn't have been. Was just wasn't a good wrestling town. We had a hard time drawing crowds down there. But now one of the roughest wrestling shows I ever wrestled in was up in Spring City, Tennessee. And that was probably one of the roughest wrestling I ever did. Some of the roughest fans that were, I mean, these fans were literally during the halftime go and get liquored up at halftime and then come back. Man, that second half show was pure pandemonium, man. They would throw Cokes at us, try stabbing us with forks, you name it. It's pretty crazy. So let me see here. Another question here. Funny or memorable botches. Okay, the funniest botch that ever happened. I was wrestling a guy by the name of Chuck Colt. He was smaller than me, but he was still taller than I was. And him and the referee was kind of getting into it. And for whatever reason, I did not pay much attention. So I slipped through the ropes and jumped to the top rope with my feet and jumped off with a flying clothesline. I was going clothesline him from behind. Well, him and the ref was arguing. The ref shoves him. Chuck falls back. Well, next thing you know, as soon as that ref shoves him, he looks up and like the old hell moment. And boom, I clotheslined. I just took him out. I thought, heck, I'm done up here. I'm taking somebody out. And boy, I just took that referee right out. Now, he ended up backflipping and sliding right out the other side of the ring. So that was hilarious. I didn't care much for that wrestler at that time. So is this perfect timing. See here, what's number 3 here? See, what was the worst injury that you ever had to overcome? Wow, this was a very easy one. Even though I guarantee you guys, and this is no joke, I probably have lost 4 or 5 gallons worth of blood during my career. I wrestled 21 years. It was getting hurt was almost an every weekend thing. Especially we was part of the hardcore group. We were hardcore before ECW was hardcore, if that tells you anything. So, but the worst injury I ever had was 7 months into my career. Ended up wrestling in my old hometowns. It's where my mom and dad came from. And the guy that I wrestled was from up in Michigan. Well, big old strong guy. Well, anyway, he ends up pressing me up over his head. Boom. His knee gives out, causes him to stagger backwards. His back hits the ropes. Whoop, I get dumped out of the ring. I fall a good 12 foot, something like that. Cradled my head, luckily. But the way I landed on my side caused me to break my 5th vertebrae from my tailbone up. I broke my back halfway in two, the 5th vertebrae up from the tailbone. So, yes, end up socking in a bunch of pain pills that night, and they drove me home. And the next day, I ended up having to get picked up and taken to the emergency room. And I was told that, son, the doctor said, son, you'll be lucky to walk. You'll never wrestle again. And roughly 8 months after that, I got back in the ring for my first wrestling match and won my very first heavyweight title belt. I went back to that same town and beat their heavyweight champion. It was the CWC heavyweight title. So there you go, folks. I mean, when you're young, think you're Superman, and you're stubborn enough, you can accomplish anything. So, see here. Yeah, wrestling. Imagine football and boxing combined. That's basically what wrestling is. I mean, it's you. You have to be. A lot of wrestlers get raps on being kind of dumb, but I'm here to tell you, to be a good professional wrestler, you got to have some intelligence. And your top wrestlers of all, the legends in the sport, almost every one of them has some kind of college degree or something like that. So, and everything. We'll see what else you got up here. I'm going to answer one more, Michael, and then I'm going to go to some other stuff, and I'll come back and finish it up here. See. Oh, why did I decide to retire? Okay, this is another easy question. The reason I decided to retire, I was actually getting into making films. I was made 2 small independent films, which was roughly about both of them. My first 2 movies was about 1 hour and 3 minutes apiece. Well, I was looking at going bigger and doing a really good solid 2-hour movie. And unfortunately, at the time, the wrestling group that I was in with, they was extremely rowdy. The sad thing about it was we had a lot of great guys. We really could have took that alliance at that time really far, and just unfortunately, they just couldn't behave. And I remember I had to not be there one week, and I actually owned the building, and my partner owned the ring, so that's how we formed the alliance. So anyway, I had to go out of town for a show, and I was advertising my movies and stuff. Well, while I was gone, just to keep it simple, total mayhem happened, and it got pretty vulgar at certain moments. So pretty much the very next day, I made a phone call and terminated the wrestling show. My building, that was in. I mean, no building, no wrestling. So, and I even told them, I said, guys, I would say I'm sorry, but I told y'all when I left to be on your best behavior, and you done just the opposite. So everybody's gone. I hated to do that, but bottom line, guys, if you say something, you got to be it. You can't sit there and let people run over you or do you wrong. And they was this. No matter if I'm wrestling or doing art, doing toys, it don't matter. I've always tried to be 200% professional, and then you got to be that way. So, but to kind of show you guys some cool pictures here. Trying to see if we can get them up here. Here's some of me back in the day, pretty young and stuff like that. had a pretty good tag team partner. The funny, me and him, the reason we ended up tagging up, our manager thought we looked quite a bit alike. I'm trying to get even closer here. And the funny thing is that the guy, whatever, well, you know, the one who's not me. The funny thing is, he actually has a twin brother named Kevin. So that's the whole funny behind it. There I am, clear as a bell. So maybe that's what I just needed to hold my hand up there a little bit longer. So, and yeah, and here was our manager right here. Chris Hicks, Mad Jack, Outback Jack, great guy. There you go, straighten up. So yeah, I had enjoyed wrestling with him. He was a great manager. There's me suplexing the guy. That's that Chuck guy. If I'm not, yeah, I see the cowboy boots. So, and here's us during it was kind of a heated interview going on back in the day. Let it focus in here. Pull back, I guess. There we go. Lots of fun up there. Got something to see. Yeah, here's me doing a mean. Everybody said back in those days I had one of the meanest clotheslines in the independent circuit. But I was pretty. You think I'm intense now, guys? I was a lot worse back in my younger days. Yeah, here's me taking an arm drag. Yeah. Not much difference in size now than what I was back then. I was probably right at 175. Get it to focus in here. Oh, come on, focus, you turkey. There we go. But here's one thing, nothing really special, but I wanted you to see this big, huge, the big, huge metal blue door there in that warehouse we wrestled at. I got fired from this company like 3 or 4 times. And one of the times I got fired is I threw a guy through it and broke it, and it came falling down. And luckily it luckily held on one bracket, and that's what kept it from completely coming down and killing everybody. So, and I think the time I got fired before that, they had the bathrooms there, and me and this wrestler totally wiped out the whole entire bathroom. Yeah. Destroying toilets will get you fired. See, Timothy, thank you for joining us, man. See here. Yes, we had a lot of, especially when we hit the same town. We done like a little circuit there, hitting Rossville, hitting Spring City, and then on Tuesday nights I had to drive there for over like 7 months. I had to drive down to Pensacola, Florida. Because see, guys, there for a while, for 7 months, I actually had 3 different belts in 3 different states. I was the Florida Junior State Champion for Florida Championship Wrestling. I was a tag team champion in Georgia at TWA, and I had a different tag team partner in Tennessee for, what was the name of that one? ASW, All Sport Wrestling. So yeah, I had 3 championship belts all at one time. So I kept extremely busy every Tuesday night, Friday, and Saturday night. So come Sunday, man, I was this out. I mean, I couldn't hardly move around. See, just feuds. I'm glad you said that, because of one of the pictures I was getting ready to get here. One of my largest feuds I had was this guy right here. Oh, Rick Justice. He had the cowboy gimmick there. And when I first came to this organization, we didn't get along. Now we for whatever reason, we just well, I'll tell you, part of the reason was I was a pretty much a damn cocky turd, if you want to know. I came into that company. What's wrong, baby girl? You okay? It's okay. Daddy's on the video, okay? You be a good girl, right? Love you. That's my daughter, guys. Love you, sweetheart. She didn't know I was filming. But anyway, when I came into this company, I actually moved from Morristown, Tennessee, came into this Georgia company. I thought, okay, here I'm the new kid on the block. And I came in there with the most cockiest attitude that you can imagine, and made some enemies right off the bat. But it wasn't long before I started grabbing belts. And after a while, it calmed down after a while. But the first 6 months I was there, it was pretty intense. Let's see here. Oh, dude, getting fired was one of the greatest things because the coolest thing about getting fired in wrestling is they would fire you. And he's like, oh, yeah, I got rid of you. Then about 2 weeks later, when all the fans were pissed that you wasn't there anymore, yeah, they were calling you back. Oh, we got to have you. The crowds are down, whatever. So, and unfortunately, back then, we didn't have advertising tools like YouTube and Facebook to help draw crowds. Oh, man, we would have been so massive back then if we would have had this advertisement type stuff. Yeah, that was one of the things. A lot of the guys right here, they were conditioned, but they didn't ever hit the gym and stuff. I was religiously in the gym 5-6 days a week. I mean, run 3 miles a day. That's one thing Tim Horner really boasted and pushed on me. He said, Kevin, you're a lot shorter than everybody, a lot smaller, so you got to be quicker, faster. And the funny thing, even though I wasn't one of the biggest guys there, I was still one of the strongest guys there. I was very strong for my size, but I only kept like a 5 to 7% body fat. I mean, I was very lean. During most of those times, I probably ate 5 times a day, and it was 2 cans of tuna every meal. I mean, there was no Cokes, no candy bars, as lean as you can get it. So, see, any plans of customizing a wrestling figure of me? Let's see here. Well, I may one day, just so I can say I did it and put it up on the wall. But I don't have no plans as far as, if anything, they're definitely in the works of a toy smuggler figure. I will say that. I will go ahead and pre-leak that. Keep your eyes open. Somewhere in the near future, there'll be a toy smuggler figure out there. And once I get that made, I can probably go ahead and be able to pull off a wrestling. And actually, the 3 belts, I actually ended up having 17 championship title belts in my whole entire career. So that was a huge accomplishment for me, and I worked hard. And the whole reason, guys, I got into pro wrestling, since we're getting some cool people on here to kind of show you guys, the whole reason I got into pro wrestling was this right here. The first time I ever laid eyes on this. This right here, guys. The first time that I ever seen this on the TBS, my eyes lit up. I about had a heart attack. And I said, and I think if I'm not mistaken, Harley Race had the belt at that time. I said, one day that belt's going to be around my waist. And this is a legitimate replica from the NWA. This was the big $400 big sale they had going on. This is the most accurate replica of the original 70s belt that Harley Race had and Ric Flair wore in the early 70s. So all the way down to the type of leather it was, all the logos were right. So yeah, there's the original NWA, well, technically the second round NWA belt, I think, something like that. This is probably still the one of the most, even though the big gold is probably the most famous, this is if you ask any wrestler that's ever wrestled and been in the ring, this is the one they wanted right here. And like I said, and that was I never had it. I actually got to touch it once in Knoxville, Tennessee. I got and everything. So, but this is the reason I got it. I never got close to ever getting a chance to wrestle Ric Flair or nothing like that. But there was a lesson here, and I want you guys to always take. I like giving lessons to people because I've learned a lot in my ups and downs of my wrestling career, art career. You gotta shoot for the stars so you can land on the moon. And this was my star, guys. I went for it all. Even though I didn't get there, I learned a lot of great lessons in life, a lot of great lessons in marketing, how to run TV shows, and all the lessons that I learned in pro wrestling. I've been able to carry those things into this art world and the toys and become the toy smuggler. So this was not a wasted thing to shoot for, because this one right here, shooting for this, the impossible dream, is what put me on the path, the reason why I'm sitting here talking to you guys today. So sometimes, guys, even though you may not reach your dream, you're still going somewhere you needed to go. So always trace a dream. I will say that, always. And the that little caption off is I have zero regrets. Not a one. I don't miss it. I will tell you that. I'm getting older, so I don't miss it. But the reason the answer you, Michael, the reason I left is just the guys was just unprofessional, and like I said, my thing is my presence is I got to be professional, and I try to hang around. You end up being or get the reputation of the type of people you hang around with, guys, and that's just the bottom line. See here, yes, beautiful. I know, I love that thing. Yes, one. Actually, that's the coup de grace. I actually have a replica of the big gold as well. I keep them put up. I keep them in their little nice bags and stuff because if you don't, they could tarnish and stuff like that. See here, think on the lighter note since we kind of got on the subject of getting fired from wrestling. Well, one of the times I got fired, I just let the pictures do the talking. Let's just say this. I got pictures of getting fired, and I got fired pretty interestingly. So we had an altercation that night about about an hour or so before this picture right here. And we're out here, our manager's boasting and bragging. You can see I'm just laying back. Wish I had a sweet tea at that point. It's very hot in that old building. Well, anyway, the altercation came back, and there we are feuding again with these guys. So pretty heated deal. So it's getting more and more out of hand. We're all over the ring here. Uh-oh. And I'm getting knocked out. Well, by the time I end up landing on the floor and trying to get in the cobwebs back to get knocked out of my head and kind of get my senses here, next thing I know, this happens. But boom, the cops show up. We're getting arrested live in front of everybody. So flashes were going off everywhere. People were horse laughing. And yeah, here's a good, I need to make a poster or a t-shirt out of this one. There I am, getting slammed on the concrete floor, getting handcuffed. So definitely fired that night. So what happened was, we all had to be up there at the show 2 hours early to cut radio promos. See, back then we didn't do TV promos. We done radio promos. And we actually got into it when no one was there. And we ended up causing some more property damage, as usual. There us getting escorted to the cops, to the police car. Oh my, yes, like I said. Yeah, always leaving it to the toy smuggler. And back then, guys, the wrestling name that I had then, I got to backtrack a little bit here, but the wrestling name I had back in those days at that moment was Risk Taylor. And I ended up keeping that name for the rest of my career. There's us getting shoved in, but you can barely see us there, but here's another angle. Like I said, people was coming out of the woodworks, getting pictures of us going into the car. And there we are getting ready to pull out. So anyway, so the altercation happened a couple hours before, and I think a car window got knocked out because I think one of the guys we threw, I can't remember if it's me or my buddy, but somebody's elbow went through a side glass door and stuff like that. So yeah, that was, I think, got fired number 4. I lost track with that company. So one of the funniest times I got fired, somebody out in the crowd said something, and I just turned around, double finger. It just happened. And this is before Stone Cold was doing it. Boom, I gave him a double finger, shoved my nose at him, went and wrestled. Got a phone call on Sunday saying I was fired. 2 weeks later, I was back. So getting fired was not uncommon. Yes, mugshot in your wrestling gear. Yeah. So yeah, this to backtrack. Actually, my first original wrestling name was Diamond Dave. And I thought I had a photo here of it, but I can't seem to find one. But I do have my original vest that I used to wear. I'll show you guys that here. See if I can get turned around here. But this is my original vest I used to wear. If I come across the picture, I'll show the vest again. But I had a lady, one of the guys I used to wrestle with by the name of 8 Ball Jones. His wife sewed this for me, and I did all the the details on it and everything. And I've had this thing, gosh, since 1992. So, I mean, I've kept it all these years. And I think I got a Diamond Dave blue jean jacket with the sleeves cut off, very Bon Jovi looking at the time. So, it's a treasure for that. I'll never get rid of those things. Let's see here. Oh yeah, yeah, and I think it was a little kid. And I heard something, I reacted, and honestly, it happened so fast I didn't even think about it. So, oh, thank you. Yeah, like I said, I've had this thing since '92, so it's getting ready to be 2 more years. It's 28 years old, so I mean, I'll never get rid of it. Let's see here, guys. I got some other cool stuff to show you here. The best stuff is going. I got a photo album here, guys. Some of the best stuff's in here. I'm gonna go back and answer one of John. See here, one of his questions, number 5, I believe on. It's a double question here. Who is your favorite and least wrestler of all time? As far as being a professional wrestler, my favorite wrestler of all time is Ric Flair. Bottom line. But now I do have a lot of other top favorites. Roddy Piper was one of my top favorites. See here. I like Marty Jannetty and Al Snow. Al Snow is definitely in my top 5. Al Snow, you guys, I'm trying to remember. He's the guy that done that deal with Mankind, that with the head doll and all that. And but honestly, guys, Al Snow, he's just a cool guy, and he's probably one of the greatest wrestlers. I'm serious, guys. I'm talking about top 40 of all time. The guy is this brilliant in the ring. And like I said, unfortunately, we was together in Smoky Mountain just for a very short time. By the time I was going into Smoky Mountain, he was already in talks with WWF at the time, getting ready to leave. So our paths crossed a few times, but unfortunately, I never had the opportunity to wrestle in the ring with him. I was in Smoky Mountain when Chris Jericho was there, Lance Storm, Chris Candido, Kane. Me and Kane used to work out at the same gym together. You used to bump into him at the Winn-Dixie almost every week, 2 or 3 times a week, because the Winn-Dixie grocery store is right across the street from the gym where we worked out. And I actually lived 2 blocks from that area. So we used to see each other all the time. So, and I think, what was it the worst wrestler or the wrestler I didn't like? See here, the least favorite. Oh gosh, least favorite wrestler. I'm going to have to think about that in a little bit, because I got along. I guess, to keep this quick and that way I don't forget about answers, I guess the least favorite would have to be the Headbangers. Me and the Headbangers kind of had a little bit of an altercation. We just before the Headbangers went to WWF as Mosh and Bosch, I think those are the guys who kind of done the Road Warrior kind of gimmick, but they wore the red skirts, the red plaided skirts. Well, before that, they was in a company called the National Wrestling Federation. I was in there too with Bob Watts and a cowboy Bob Watts. And Bill Oates, I think, if I'm not mistaken, was his name. Those guys run that show. And I ended up getting 2 different tag team partners. No, there's the same tag team partner. We ended up, they gave me the wussiest guy for a partner that you ever could imagine. I can't remember his name, but I wanted to beat him up. He was a puss. It is so embarrassing. So anyway, I'm in there with the ring, and one of them pops me in the jaw. So, hell, I just popped him back. And, and I guess those guys, they just thought they was all that in a bag of chips. But anyway, fists were flying, drop kicks were flying, bloody nose was happening. But anyway, they just got mad. They couldn't deal with me, so they just tossed me out of the ring. And they grabbed my partner by the hair of the head, slung him in there, beat him and pinned him within like 30 seconds. And so, of course, I didn't get fired, but I was in the president's office that night and the next weekend when we had another TV taping. And I was getting my butt chewed. They got their butt chewed. When we went out there, and I'd be lo and behold, we went in 2 minutes in the match. Boom, we get in a big old fight again. The president's coming out, and he's slamming his hands on the ring mat and everything. And we're in there just a fighting. So once again, they throw me out of the ring and that's done the fake out loud tag, and next thing you know, they throw my partner in there and just beat the total crap out of him. I just left him, like I just got mad and walked away and left him laying in the middle of the ring. I didn't care. I like beat on him. He didn't want to get in there anyway. So anyway, by the time I hit, the way it's set up, you hit the locker room doors, and then there was a long hallway that split left and right. Those guys was in one hallway and I was on the other. Well, no more. I went in and took a ride. I was chilled out. I was just walking. I thought it was all done and over. Next thing you know, boom, the doors exploded open, and here comes these two guys like wild animals. So I just turned, run right at them, ducked my head, and just dove right into them. And next thing you know, both locker rooms come running down the hall. And guys, we had like 30 guys. Looked like WrestleMania, big old battle royal right there in this little 6-foot hallway. It was, I wish we had a video camera because it was awesome. So yeah, I came out of that little mess with a busted lip and a black eye, if I'm not mistaken. So no, the president, was smacking the ring, not spanking me. He's smacking the ring, telling me to get the hell out of there. So spanking me. That would have been hilarious. So let's see here. John, how many more questions we got? That was a good question. See here. Goldberg. Yeah, didn't care much about Goldberg. I wasn't ever impressed with Goldberg. Number 6, would you ever consider returning to the ring? Wow, that is a loaded question. I am not against it. But the only way I would really get back in the ring if I was able to catapult off the stuff that I got going off here at the Toy Smuggler, because I'm getting a lot of good traction going with this, and I'm hoping one day I might be able. If I do, it's going to be a much higher bracket. I will not go back to the independent circuit. I will say that. No, I will never step back inside of it. The only way I would go back if they wanted to, like, put me in their little Hall of Fame, or if they wanted me to come out and do a speaking deal, guest color commentator. Now that I wouldn't mind going back to the independent circuit, but as far as going back to the independent circuit to wrestle, no. It's just a different mindset. I'm climbing the mountain, not going backwards. So, and that's not being rude or ugly. It's just, like I said, guys, you when you get a direction, you got to keep going. You can't go. If you keep looking backwards, like I said, guys, this is the first time I looked at this stuff in years. That's why I've had a hard time finding it. And once I retired, I was busy on the filming and doing artwork. I've not looked back. So, see what we got here. See, I know I didn't mean little spanking. Yeah, I definitely got reprimanded. Really, that was he was cussing me. He was mad because, like I said, guys, we was videotaping for TV for who was it? I think it's NBC. We was recording for. Yeah, it was an interesting night. See. Awesome. So no, I will not. I would go back, but it had to be a lot bigger organization. So see here. What entrance music did you come out to? All right. The entrance music, I had two favorites. Earlier in my career, it was Guns N' Roses from the movie Interview with a Vampire, Ode to the Devil. That used to be my entrance music. And later on in my career, I was actually going out to, oh gosh, what's the name of that group? Here I Go Again on my own. Was that White Snake or something? Yeah, I think it's White Snake. So that was one of my favorite ones. Then toward the end of my career and stuff like that. So that was my two favorite. I had a few others here and there, but those two were probably the ones that were probably most used. Sorry, guys, I'm dying of thirst here. See, good questions, John. Let's see what the next one is. See, what ultimately made me want to, bottom line, I think I kind of answered that early on. I just, 3 years old, I knew that I was going to have a wrestling belt around my waist one day. It in artwork. When I was 3, being a professional wrestler and being a professional artist was the two things I seen in my future clear as a bell. I would profound them out vocally all the time, and everybody thought I was crazy. But guys, I got too much proof around that, I can't tell you why I was so clearly minded at such a young age, but I just think it was just I was just I just knew my destiny, and I wish I could say it any more. I know that just sounds weird, but I'm being very honest and very candid here with you guys. But when I was 3 years old, I knew I was going to be in the ring, wrestling, fighting for championship belts, and I knew one day I was going to be a professional artist of some sorts in many different areas. I knew it clear as a bell, so there was just no doubt. And even growing up as a kid, man, it was the older I got, the more clear it got. So now I did get foggy in my high school years because I started listening to my elders, which was so stupid. I should have just listened to myself. Now it cost me a good 15 years of especially the art world more than the wrestling. But like I said, guys, when it comes to you and your dreams, listen to your gut. If you can't get something out of your head and it's just eating at you, and you know in your gut you need to do it, just get off your butt and go do it. Bottom line, I mean, there's a reason it's eating. If something's keeping you up every night, just get off your butt and go for it. Don't worry about it if it turns out or it goes the way you think it should. Just do it. There's something to be gained. There's something to be learned. And that's the whole reason why it's eating at you. So just go for it, guys. Favorite hold or maneuver? The biggest maneuver I used, my finishing maneuver, was the net breaker. I love the net breaker. And my most net breaker was probably one of my favorite maneuver, one of my most vicious ones. Now, my favorite one of all time was a cross body block off the top rope. That has always, even when I was a kid, just the first time I remember seeing Ric Flair against Harley Race in the cage match, when Ric Flair comes off the top rope in that cage and cross body blocks Harley Race and gets the belt, I was hooked for the rest of my life. I mean, bottom line. I mean, and Harley Race, man, what an amazing, tough, one of the toughest wrestlers of all time. Amazing. Just totally amazing wrestler. If you guys, I know all you younger guys probably don't know who Harley Race is, go to YouTube, Google Harley Race, and you will see some of the toughest matches you've ever. These guys nowadays couldn't hold a candle with Harley Race back in those days. I'm here to tell you. Totally amazing. See here. Hey, what's up, brother? Hadn't seen you in a while. Great messenger. I love when you shoot me messages and stuff like that, man. Classic movies, The Vault. Like I said, this guy right here, he always sending me cool little tidbits and stuff like that. Always enjoys reading your messages. So see here. See here, Steve. See, sorry if I missed it, but did you ever play in Massachusetts? No, I never did go. The farthest north I ever been in wrestling was Cincinnati. Come on, you come in here, baby. You just gotta be good. Come on. It's okay. Sorry, guys. My little girl. She roughly 5 minutes before I went live here, she was in my art room. It's all slick hardwood floors, and she fell and got hurt and got a little bitty boo-boo right here. And anyway, so she's been a little upset. So she just needs a little loving. So, but no, Cincinnati, Ohio was probably the farthest north I ever wrestled, and is pushing Louisiana. Huh? I know, she's okay. She just needs some loving. So, and like I said, most of my career has always been in the Southeast. A lot of Florida, Georgia, tons of Tennessee, Georgia, and Florida was my hot spots. So I did some Virginia. I think one South Carolina before, and like I said, a few in Alabama was a hot spot for a while, and stuff like that. Yes, she's a cutie. I know she's already still in the show, babe. Yeah, and he's actually, Harley Race was a super nice guy, but buddy, when he got in the ring, it was all business. Bottom line, all business. Least favorite hold or maneuver to receive? See, the Boston Crab. hurts like hell. Oh, that was a rough one. Figure four, that was, but not too many people executed a figure four. But I tell you, one of the worst ones, spine buster. I hate spine busters anyway, but one of the worst spine busters I ever had to take was in a take, those little purple sacks that what's that, Royal Crown comes in. She won't say hi to everybody. It's like up here. See that? Put you go, hey. So one of them purple Royal Crown velvet bags. A guy had one of those bags with the little gold pull strings full of thumbtacks. Poured it on there, and I had a boom. He took a spine buster on me, and right in the middle of that, man, I had tacks in my head, all in my arms, and it was horrible. It was so horrible. So, see here. Yes, see his bounty on Ric Flair promo is a classic. I have to agree with you. Yeah, like I said, you guys got to go YouTube, check out Ric Flair and Harley Race. Man, just the and Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat. Oh my gosh, I still today I can, if I watch wrestling, that's the rest. I don't watch nothing now. I hadn't watched wrestling on a regular basis, guys, and I've been retired 5 years. Now, I think I quit watching wrestling a good 8 years before that. I couldn't tell you one wrestler's name right now for nothing. I mean, if he hadn't been around over 10 years ago, I probably couldn't name a one. So, let's see here. See what else we got here. Let's see here. Do you follow any current? Nope, just answered that and wasn't even trying. Now, I don't follow any wrestling whatsoever, not Ring of. Heard a lot of good things about Ring of Honor and the new NWA. So, watch it, baby, now. Keep your leg down. Let's see here. See, male or female? See, big female wrestlers. I see here. I'm just not a fan of the new female wrestlers, guys. I mean, trying to think of I never was a big fan. Now, see, the wrestlers, and you guys probably don't even know who these are either, but you need to Google Medusa Michelli, Sherry Martel. What, beautiful?
Where's that shirt?
Yeah, it's Daddy's wrestling shirt. Yeah, she's never seen it before. So, but yeah, Medusa, Sherry Martel. Oh my gosh! Now them two would have so many great battles.
You got wear it.
What?
You got wear that.
No, I'm not putting that on, baby. I might. I know it's definitely too dirty to be wearing. So see the Steamboat and Flair matches was just pure amazing. But as far as the like I said, the newer wrestler guys, I've just never seen. I know you guys, they may be skimpier outfits and look cuter, and they're able to be more sexual on TV and stuff like that. But as far as true female wrestlers, you can't beat Medusa and Sherry Martel. They're just the two of the best that ever has and ever will be. So now I have say a good friend of mine has told me a lot of good things about Ric Flair's daughter. Was it Charlotte? I think her name is, but I've never got to watch her wrestle. I never went back and YouTubed her or nothing like that. So I can't really say anything negative about her. What, baby? Yeah, just be quiet now. See here. See who belongs on Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling. Obviously Flair, and I would say definitely Harley Race. Possibly Bob Orton. I know that's a name you don't hear of a whole lot, but and I actually got to wrestle that the NWF that I told you with the headbangers and stuff. Bob Orton and his son Randy. This is before Randy ever went to WWF here, so I got to know both of them. I didn't get to talk to Randy a whole lot because he's always talking to the other guys, but I got to know his dad pretty good. Super nice guy. I just love sitting there listening to the guys tell their stories and stuff. But Bob was really cool, really nice guy. Let's see here. See, what do you think of Gronk getting into wrestling, good football tight end. I actually can't answer that because I have no clue who Gronk is. So I don't. I know this sounds crazy, guys, but the last oh gosh, 2011 is probably since so the last 9 years I have been working extremely serious with art. And at that time too, I was still heavy in wrestling, so I kind of quit watching TV and keeping up with sports and stuff like that. So didn't get. So I'm kind of missing out on a lot of the sports references here. See here, see here. Any Patriots? See, I haven't watched any football in a while. I'm gonna show some people some pictures here. Okay. I'll put big girl. You wanna lay on the couch? Okay. Let me move the belt, baby. 1 second, guys. Let me give her. What, baby?
This.
I know, I'm getting it, baby. Just give Daddy a second. Wasn't planning on you coming in here. Just hop over there and chill out. Sorry, guys. She's getting tired. But I got some pretty cool pictures in here if you guys want to see some more cool pictures. You guys enjoying this? Or I hope I'm giving you guys what you was expecting to hear. But here's some cool shots. That's me wearing the Florida title.
I see it.
Da 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 da. Dancing little girl. Let's see here. Kind of go through some of these here. It's a lot easier just to pull them out. Oh yeah, here's a good one. I seen this one earlier. I thought I definitely got to show you guys. I was known to, like I said, my wrestling name was Risk Taylor, so I always was one doing these flying. See how high I am right there? That was me flying over the top rope, hitting the guy. See, look, see? Ain't that crazy? Yeah, you wouldn't like watching Daddy back in those days. You've been crying all the time. And for Smoky Mountain, if you Smoky Mountain fans, Tim Horner used to do the whole ninja gimmick and stuff, and I actually got to play it a couple times. Right here, if I can get it in here, it's me wearing the ninja costume and stuff. So here's another shot of it. But I only got to wear it like twice, something like that. You can look at them right there, baby girl. Let's see here. I seen somebody write something here. See and hear more. See, interesting stuff. I'm glad you guys are finding this interesting. Like I said, I don't talk about my wrestling career a whole lot. Like I said, I moved on. Like I said, I don't regret any of it. Let's see, I got some more cool pics here. Yeah, here's me. Took a spill off the top rope and landed on the old oak steps. Man, them things about put you in the hospital. Don't pull it out, baby. Daddy's got to keep these in order. Okay?
This one can't. Yeah,
you can look. Just don't take it out. Okay? Let's see here. Yeah, here's a cool picture right here. Down here at the bottom, there's me coming out with the Florida title belt. And these two young fellas right here, Toy Dodson and Adam Jacob, these two guys actually turned out to be, they was fans in the crowd, and they watched for months on end. And then I think about summertime, they came in, they got trained up and everything, and turned out to be really great wrestlers in the long run. Super nice guys, great wrestlers. We ended up, when they came on board, they's called the Young Lions, if I'm not mistaken, and end up wrestled them guys almost every Friday night for a whole entire summer. So here's me getting vicious on a guy's head right there. Quiet down now, crazy. You think I'm intense? Super intense.
I see it.
You can look at it, just don't take it out, baby. Yeah, and here's me getting ready to take a big, huge backdrop, double backdrop, I guess is what you say. Being a part of a pole, I've been in pole matches, Ladder matches. Here's us up on the pole here. I think we're fighting for $500 in cash that night. I actually ended up, that's how I actually won the Florida Junior title belt the first time. It was a pole match. I may have pictures of that somewhere. But that's how I won the Florida belt the first time, was a pole match. Let's see here. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, the going, whew, pain. Boy, pain was a whole new different definition back in those days. I tell you what. And the worst thing about it is, I know you guys are wrestling fans, obviously you wouldn't be hanging around this long night, but yeah.
Not get my phone.
Yeah, Mama wants you. And you guys remember old Diamond Dallas Page? He's helping Jake the Snake on Netflix, helping him recover, and was it Scott Hall and stuff. And I hated watching those shows, but at the same time, it reminded me because one thing, I was a little bit different than a lot of other wrestlers. I was drug free, and I did drink beer every once in a while, but not usually. It was after a match. That's the only time I go all week long, not touch anything. Then after Friday night, I'd only have one or two. Then Saturday night, I might have a little bit more than that. But then, boom, come Sunday morning when I woke up, no alcohol for the rest of the week. So I was strict on that. No kind of, I try to stay off pain pills as much as I could. See, but a lot of these guys, they get into uppers and downers and major. The only time I ever got hooked on drugs was Lortabs, and that's when I broke my back. And so that first year after I come back to the ring, it was a very rough year, and it is messing with me mentally because I just stayed in pain all the time. But I was very hard headed, and I didn't want to not wrestle. So, but I tell you what, the worst part of it, and a lot of you guys don't understand this, is I'm 47 years old now, and I'm going to be 48 coming this August. And man, there are some days I wake up and it's like I try to move a shoulder or move a hip, and I'm like, what the hell? What has happened? And I do have a few things haunting me, but at the same time, I try to stay in good shape. I got a very physical job that I do. And plus, like I said, I'm a very active person, but I do have, unfortunately, the worst issues that I have overall is I had 9 concussions over those 21 years. And so if you guys ever hear me talk, if I stutter a little bit or kind of say something backwards or whatever it's called, where I've had some bad licks to the back of the head, and sometimes my motor skills, there are some days it don't work well. So if you hear me say something weird, it's because of some old injuries. And so far I've been I'm keeping the side effects down, and it's luckily due to that I didn't abuse drugs really bad. I've been a non-smoker my whole life, so being anti-drug is probably it's kept me as healthy as I am today. And then, like I said, other than getting tongue tied a little bit, and sometimes I have blurred speech, and so if anything, if you see me acting like that, guys, I'll straighten up. Don't worry about it. It's just from old injuries, so I deal with it. So and stuff like that. See, somebody sits in here. See, wrestling is a tough business, so you have my respect. Thank you so much. Thank you. Like I said, I will never. There's so many great things I got out of wrestling. Like I said, I loved it, and like I said, I went for it all, and I got more out of it than anybody ever thought I would get out of it. So it has been a great lesson in life. So, like I said, something I will cherish for the rest of my life. Nobody can ever take it away from me, and that's what I love about it. So, see, somebody else in here. Bob Backlund yes, I loved Bob Backlund too. He's about my size, and he was just that guy, and he was classically trained amateur wrestler too. So don't mess with Bob. Bob will get you. And as far as I know, I think he's still in pretty decent shape. I got some other photos. I'm skipping through yours. Anybody got any more crazy cool questions? Great questions, by the way, guys. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to show you quickly. I forgot here's when I won the belt, the Florida belt I told you. But unfortunately, I almost lost I'm going to show it far away. I almost lost my tights during the spots. I'm going to kind of cover that up. So, yeah, the ladies had a good peep show that night. But I got the Florida belt and everything. You can see, I'm going to go a little bit high. There we go. See me rolling out with the championship title. Yep. Yeah, 3 different times I totally lost my shorts all the way down to the knees. Thank God they didn't have too many video cameras on those nights. So, oh, and here's a good picture. That the guy I told you, Joel, in the beginning, that we were called. This is the first time, and we wrestled in different organizations. So this was a shot. Me and that guy I told you he had a twin brother named Kevin. We went to a different promotion and we tried out a tag team together for the first time. We called ourselves the Dynamic Duo. And we tried it out here to kind of test the waters and see how good we would do together. And we got so much heat over the crowd, and we wrestled really good together and everything. And boom, we stayed. I think we went 13 straight months, and we never lost the belts. And it took us getting fired to lose the belts. So. Yeah, we went undefeated for like 13 straight months, something like that. Let's see here. Seems. Yes, what do you got? Throw it at me, John. I can't remember if I went back. I can't remember if I answered all your questions. Let's see where I was at here. 10, final question. What is your advice to anyone who may listen to wants to get in the wrestling business? Wow. Let's see, getting the business nowadays would be much, much harder than what it was back when I got into it. I actually got into it at a sweet time. Nowadays, if you want to get into it, it's you better be in the tip-top shape. You got to look the part. And even if you're a big guy, you got to be able to move around, get your brain on. And the best thing I can tell you to do, don't just study the wrestlers that you see on TV now. Go back to every generation, every 10 years, the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, even back in the 60s. Find out who were the top world champions back in those days and watch them religiously. And I tell you what, and that goes for anything, guys. If you want to be great at something one day, don't just study who's hot nowadays or who's trending, all that crap. Learn from the guys from the distant past. That's if you look at what you do when you study all those different generations, you'll start to get a pattern on what it takes to be a champion and to be a winner. And that's my best advice. And just go for it. If it's something you've been wanting to do all your life, go for it. I mean, the worst thing you can happen is you find a great independent show, work for them, and just do what you love. Don't worry about money. Don't worry about fame. Just do what you love. Let's see here. Here's what I was looking for. I think this is when I was fired number 5 in the company. Oh, so much fun back in those days. Mike Collins, me and him, he was always chasing after my Florida title belt. All right. Let's see if I can get in here and show you these. Right here, you see me front face pile driver right on the concrete floor. Then you see me dastardly pouring a gallon of molasses all over him. Because I was such a prick. Then what do you do after you pour some gallons worth of sticky mess on somebody? Of course, you have to bring in a whole entire pillowcase of ostrich feathers to cover them, stick them up. Yes, tarred and feathered that night, guys. And the next week, I come back just a cheesing about it. And that's the promoter getting ready to announce over the intercom that I was fired once again. So, gotta love it, guys. And there's me protesting the firing. And I ended up getting escorted. So, oh well. Let's see here. I think if anyone is a lot better now, wrestling is welcoming more different people of different shapes and sizes, depending on your talent, of course. Yeah, talent and drive is a. And I tell you what, guys, not you got to have be physically in shape, but you got to have charisma. You got to be able to get in front of the camera and just capture people and just be able to entertain people. You can't get up here in front of the camera and be like, no, that don't work. You got to be able to get in front. That's like I said, 21 years of wrestling and being in front of cameras is, guys. I feel like you're honestly. It feels like you guys are just sitting in my room and we're just shooting a bull. That's how I look at it. I'm zero afraid of the camera. I love the camera. So here's one of the guys. One of my most favorite pictures. I forgot I even had it. This is one of my. I need to make a big huge poster of this because this is one of my favorite pictures of my younger years with the Florida title. That's right after I captured it. Right there. That was probably one of the best pictures. I couldn't tell you how many hundreds of copies this size. I think they're all 4x6s. Hundreds of copies I've sold of these. I made more money selling pictures than I did off of wrestling. Because I would sell anywhere probably, 20 to 50 pictures a night. So, sold them like crazy. And I tell you, I made the most money off pictures. Here, okay, y'all wanted to hear a good, funny story on the Toy Smuggler. I'm going to tell on myself. Before I was Rick Taylor, back when I was Diamond Dave, I wrestled for a company called the UWA. And I was a heel, but what I wrestled as a heel early in the night, usually the first match, the dark match and stuff like that. But then right before halftime, either the third or fourth match, sometimes we have like 8 matches those nights, I would come out and wrestle under a hood. I was the Blue Ranger. That's back when the Power Rangers were so popular back in those days. So I come out there and wrestle. Boom. At halftime, I go out there and make a killing off kids coming up and paying me to have their picture made. I think we was charging $5 a pop, and me and the company who bought the suit for me and everything, we split the pop. Man, made a killing off of it. I mean, like I said, I wrestle. I get paid to wrestle twice a night. Plus, I get money off the pictures that I made off the Blue Ranger, and plus, I was an amateur photographer back in those days, and I used to make the pictures and T-shirts for a lot of the other. So I made more money than anybody in the independent circuit because I was making everybody else's merchandise that they were selling. So, that's what I'm saying. I capitalized every way I could. I never went hungry out on the road. See here. Yeah. Like I said, honestly, I try every once in a while. I'll come across the tube and there's wrestling. I'll be like, I can't hang on more than 5 minutes. And I'm usually changing the channel. So I wish I could say something different, but I just can't. So, has anybody else got any crazy questions for me? John had a lot of great questions tonight. I love it. Thank you so much. Brought back a lot of memories thinking of those things too, John. So I appreciate that. Let's see here. Yeah, we've been going over an hour. I think the longest live thing we had, I went 1 hour and 25 minutes one night. Yeah, here's another cool shot. Me in the ring right before I wrestle. See, unfortunately, back in those days, we didn't have like these not everybody, everybody had disposable cameras. We didn't have everybody had a phone with a digital camera that's better than the average 35 millimeter camera back in those days. Hold on, I messed the stupid focus up again. Now come on, straighten up, you stupid camera. Bam. Okay. My camera acting crazy tonight. It's a brand new one too. I've been bragging on my camera. Come on, focus. Focus. A little bit better. Whatever. Got to keep going. See here. Somebody wrote it. Oh, you're welcome, brother. No problem. See here. Now, see. 3 names for you from your wrestling figures. Make 3 packs of all 3 of your figures. I could possibly do that. Yeah, I hadn't thought about making a wrestling figure of myself in a very, very long time. That's funny that you guys mentioned that. And in the other tag team, here's a good shot of me and as the other tag team chat, my other partner, Keith Hart. And that was her manager, Savannah, I believe what her name was. I hadn't seen these guys in forever. And like I said, we were the USW tag team champions. Keith Hart was a great wrestler. I enjoyed wrestling with him, and I've had to wrestle against him quite a few times. A lot of great times. He used to wrestle Chris Benoit a lot years ago. Here we go. Here's me getting slingshot in the ring, flying through the air, getting ready to do a big splash on a guy. Yeah, I love being tag team partners with Keith Hart. Like I said, we learned a lot from each other. Great guy. Just enjoyed wrestling with him. Let's see here. No, actually, she was after Miss Elizabeth. Honestly, yeah, because Elizabeth was big in the 80s, and this was mid 90s. If I'm not mistaken, that picture was mid to late 90s. I got to show a couple things over here. I got so many different piles everywhere, guys. Definitely want to talk about this guy real quick. He passed away about 7 years ago, or maybe even 10 by now. The guy right there in the mask. I don't know if you ever was back in the 80s Continental Championship Wrestling. There was a tag team known as the Nightmares. That's Nightmare Danny Davis and Nightmare Ted Allen, and that is Nightmare Ted Allen. I had several matches with the guy, and I think I ended up, if I'm not mistaken, I was in his retirement match. I done his retirement match for him. Loved wrestling the guy, and he always spoke highly of me. And the cool thing was he came down. I hadn't been with the TWA just but for a few months. He came down and he asked Doug Watkins. He said, "I'll work for you," but he said, "But I only want to work your best wrestler." He said, "Well, you need to wrestle Rick Taylor." He was trained by Tim Horner. He goes, "Oh, yeah, Tim's a good buddy of mine. I'll wrestle him." Well, we had a great match and everything. He came backstage and came up and shook my hand and stuff like that. And he said, "I can definitely tell you was trained by Tim Horner." And he turned around right there in front of me and looked at Doug. He said, "The only way I'll come back is I have to wrestle that guy every time." And they shook hands. And every time Ted came back, I knew I had to wrestle Ted. So, buddy, miss you. I learned so much off of you, brother. I mean, I'm so hate that you're gone, but I know you're in a better place. You meant the world to me, brother. You are sadly missed. Sadly missed. Yeah, so many good friends of mine are gone. Unfortunately, there's too many deaths in pro wrestling. Speaking of that, I actually just started watching the. See, what was the name of that? I got it on. I had it. I'm on YouTube now, but what is it? The Shadows of the Ring, or what? The Darkness of the Ring, or what? The new thing about Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero. I don't know if you guys have been watching any of that. I just watched part 1. I got into part 2 this morning. Just disturbing. I don't know how the better way to say it, but it's just disturbing. Actually, I got a lot of videos, but unfortunately, they're on VHS. And I got a buddy of mine who's supposed to help me transfer them. I've tried to not touch them because unfortunately, like if I was wrestling today, getting video would be so easy. But back in those days, before a lot of you guys was even born, getting video of yourself, I was lucky to get this, no less video. But I do have quite a bit of video, but I got to get it transferred to digital. I'm hoping to do it just to save it because, I mean, guys, you all know VHS, it just gets brittle over time. But here's a cool pic of me being dastardly. Yep. He didn't end up too well after that. So, yeah, and here was some of the hardcore stuff. Oh, here's some, let's see. Yeah, like I said, if I get it digital, I will throw it up on YouTube for you guys. I promise you that. So, and here's me getting my head, and that is not wood. That's a metal siding that my face is going up across. Yes, lovely. There's another shot of that is me and Ted there. See here. Yeah, here's a few of me taking some pretty nasty spills over the top rope to the concrete floor. I got a couple shots here. Here's a wild looking one. Looks like I'm just cartwheeling right over. So there's been a few times I'm shocked that I actually walked away, to be honest with you. And here's a good little shot. I'm going to try to get it close up in there. I didn't know if it was going to focus, but it's me busting the guy's nose with my foot. That's that Rick Justice guy. We love just beating the hell out of each other. He was the one of the few. I only can name two wrestlers that I could get in a ring with, and we would just bust each other's nose, lips, eyes. Oh my gosh, you think we just getting ready to kill each other. Boom, go to the bar afterward, have a beer, and just laugh about it and not take it personal. So him and a guy by the name of Rawhead Rex. That's the only two guys I can say I ever done that with. Everybody else, it kind of got a little personal. There's me flying over the top rope, getting ready to splash somebody again. See, handstand, Ric Flair style, yeah. And here's one. This was a regular drunk. He used to come to the shows, and I used to get "F you, Taylor" every night. So, but yeah, I was the one getting fired, not him. So Tommy, I believe, was his name. But yeah, he was my professional heckler. He used to give me hell every night. Shh. Go get mommy, please. Go the other way, okay? Thank you. Yeah, here's a out there getting heckled by the crowd. Like I said, we used to go in. Let's see, actually, I think I got that picture. Yeah, here we go. Came in. Used to love doing run-ins and just beating the crap out of somebody and going in, rough them up a little bit before I even have my tights on. Then come out, boo the crowd, and do a quick interview and go back in. Love to stir the crowd up. Out of the 21 years as a pro wrestler, I was a heel about 17 years of that. So loved being the bad guy. That's why I think somebody made a compliment a month ago that somebody put a thumbs down on one of my videos, and my buddy Spike made a comment about it. Go, hey man, you got a thumb down. I'm like, okay, I got a dude. I used to be a pro wrestler. Every night I get paid to make people go "F you, Taylor." So thumbs down, not going to hurt my feelings. So, I mean, if you're watching this long enough and you feel like you got to put a thumbs down, you obviously don't have anything else better to do. So you obviously liking it a little bit. So, but here's a good buddy of mine, Richie Dye. I was involved in his retirement match. Big old guy, just a great. This is one of the nicest guys you would ever meet. Great wrestler. Let's see here. Okay, I done showed these pictures right here. See here. See, got to get that heel heat. Yes, I love doing it. Trust me, I was one of the best at pissing people off, and I'm still pretty good at it today. And now I get people mad at me. I'm not even trying. It's I think unfortunately a lot of YouTubers are got very soft sleeves. They can't handle anything. Okay. Go tell mommy, okay? So, yeah, here's some more shots of me and Keith back in the day. A lot of great times. Like I said, took a lot of beatings, and stuff like that. Yeah, oh yeah. You hear that big old guy, Richie Dye, that I just told you about? He's like 6'6", 6'7", massive, big old Grizzly Adams looking kind of guy. But here's him. You can imagine. Let me get it turned this way. Right there, he's in it. black trunks there. He's 6'6", 6'7". So you can imagine how high I am up in the air getting ready to take this backdrop. Did not end well for me. So see here. Guys, that's about all I got, Doug. I got some more stuff. I think what I'm going to do is maybe in a few months down the line, I'm going to do like a part 2. I got some other cool memorabilia stuff out, and I know I got some more stuff, and I will do this right here. Sometime tonight and tomorrow, come back and revisit this video. I'm going to try. I got a link somewhere to a video. One of my matches is on YouTube. I think if you guys write this down, Risk Taylor versus Drew Game. If you type that in, Risk R-I-S-K Taylor versus Drew Game, I think there's a matchup me against him, and that just happened just a year or two before I retired. So check that out. I'm pretty sure if you YouTube that, you can find it. Let's see here. See, thumbs down on only helps your YouTube algorithm. See, it only helps it. So, or is it thumbs up only helps it? Only keeps your YouTube algorithm. It helps. El Rodimus Flash, but hey, I just now noticed that was you, brother. Good to see you, man. Seen you on YouTube just a few days ago. Hey, love your sketches, by the way, dude. Keep up the work. You're definitely getting warmed back up. So keep up the good work. Hey, if you got the Flash together yet, man, guys. Remember me talking about the classic TV toys earlier this week or last week one, but El Rodham is here. He went to that website and he bought all the pieces very similar to my Starman, but he's putting together a vintage looking Flash Gordon. So, dude, I've been wanting to do that, and I can't wait to see yours. So you make sure when you do it, either send it to me on Twitter or go to my Facebook, Sexton Creations. I gotta see that, dude, because I am wanting to do the same thing, and I will definitely want to check out yours before I do it. I just hadn't had time to do it, but I've been wanting to do that. And 90% of the pieces you picked are the exact same ones I was going to pick. So you picked the right stuff, brother. See here. See. Exactly. I mean, whether people are, and here's the one thing, guys. Unfortunately, a lot of some YouTubers, not you guys, but there are YouTubers out there they obviously don't have anything better to do in their life than to get on there and try to put someone down. Guys like me, and guys, all I'm doing is trying to be the best artist I can be, do what I do, share it with you guys. I'm trying to build up a fan audience here. And like I said, and I'm glad that I got only like 700 plus subscribers. And obviously I want to grow, but I'm liking that it's kind of small now because I'm getting to know you guys. I'm getting a good, strong following with guys that, boom, as soon as I turn my head, I recognize you guys. You guys, like El Rodimus, he's always every week, 2 or 3 times a week, he's hit me up he keeps my Twitter alive. So thank you. He really keeps my Twitter from not being inactive. So, and John Michael, he's always shooting me something a couple of times a week, asking me wrestling questions and other art related kind of stuff. And like I said, Timothy Hayes, Timothy Ward, all you guys mean the world to me. And like I said, this channel, the reason I keep rolling forward is because I keep seeing you guys. You guys have been hanging out with me now for over an hour and 20 minutes on something that I'm not even doing right now. This is something that I used to do. And you guys are hanging out, asking a lot of great questions, really helping me go down memory lane. So I want to appreciate that, guys. And it's been good for me. Like I said, I tried not to think about wrestling. I know that sounds crazy, but I tried not to think about it. Like I said, but it was a great experience. I learned so much from it, and I never regret it. But I'm definitely going to come back and do a cool part 2. But one thing before I go, and I just remember I got some cool pics on the computer. So if you guys want to see them, I'm going to pop them up here. I'm going to try to turn the camera around so you guys can see these things full blowed up and see if you guys enjoy this before we go here. So I'm going to try to make this as smooth as I can, guys. So if you get seasick, close your eyes for about 3 seconds. All right, let's see if this will show good here. There's me flying off the top rope. Let me get a little bit more slack here, guys. I got some cool pictures here. I hope you guys enjoy this. Let's see here. There's me in my younger days. Get a bit closer here. Getting press lamb, flying over the top rope. All sorts of madness. There we go. There we go. I used to do a move. I used to jump to the top rope, do a spinning wheel kick, and kick somebody in the face, and then spin back off of him and land on my feet. That was one of my, wasn't ever a finishing maneuver, but it was one that just got the crowd going, crazy. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of my crazy high fly maneuvers I used to do back in the day. And here's a good shot, guys. You want to see how hardcore we used to get. Check out that right there. That's one of the street fights, Rossville street fights we used to have. And guys, I'm here to tell you that is not catch up. That is good old glorious blood right there. And what it is, that you see that chair in the background there. I ran it through see the turnbuckles in the back. I took a run from there, springboarded off, and unfortunately, guy cracked me in the face with a chair. Sometimes it don't work out, fellas. Yeah, here's another shot from that night. I used to. I actually was for like almost 3 years, like one of the hardcore kings in this area. And there's another move. I used to springboard off of a chair and drop kick people off the top rope. There's me with a Florida junior title when I first captured it. And I was probably at my lightest weight when I was actually, like I said, I wrestled so much. Sorry I'm trying to get this figured out. There we go. Now I got it straight. I probably was only about 165 pounds right there. But I was lean and just like a freaking rattlesnake. The red eyes are perfect because, boy, like I said, I was a rattlesnake back in those days. Did not know what the word give up meant. So, I mean, I'd keep, if I was breathing, I was fighting. And that was how it was. And there it was back in 96. Yeah, I had my own wrestling, like baseball type cards back in those days. Pro Wrestling Illustrated, what was his name? Oh my God, I can't remember that guy's name. He unfortunately he had passed away. Bill Needham, I think was his name. But anyway, I was in Pro Wrestling Illustrated a few times, and Pro Wrestling Illustrated picked some of us from the TWA, and we got to be on Pro Wrestling Illustrated, like wrestling baseball type cards. That was pretty cool. I think it was like 4 of us that got to have the baseball type cards. But all right, let me turn that back around here real quick, guys. Boom, prop it up. There we go. That'll work here. But guys, like I said, we've been here right at an hour and a half now. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me here. See here, it will be a week or two working on a few projects, tufts and paint. Yeah, I seen you got the non-painted head and everything. Love you, brother. Thank you so much, man. Yeah, keep sending those messages, man. Love you. Ask a lot of great questions. Let's see, looking forward to talking about taking the time out of your day to do this, brother. Hey, yeah, John Michael, guys, he's the one who requested this video, and I'm definitely going to do a part 2 to this, guys. I'm going to dig around, get some more cool pics and videos and stuff like that. So, see, He's hardcore. He's hardcore. Yeah. And like I said, and the end of it off here. Come on, camera. Focus. There we go. That's good enough. Perfect. Yeah, the end of the story off, since he said John Michael said something about hardcore, I actually was approached by Paul Heyman of ECW. He gave me a phone call one day, and he asked me to come up to Philadelphia, but I had to juice up because I was only 175 pounds, but I looked like I was about 200. But he wanted me to look like I was about 225, 230. So that means I had to physically get up to about the 200 marker. So I was good 25 pounds under that. But he needed me. He said, you got one chance. If you're not up here in 3 months, you get someone else. So if you say no to this, I'm picking somebody else. He said, I already got 2 other people in line behind you. So you got to next week to give me your answer. So I thought about it for a straight week about juicing up. And I thought about, these guys were getting looked at WWF at the time. Rob Van Dam was there. Chris Candido done moved up to ECW at that time because he done left Smoky Mountain. So I was like one of the last guys left out of Smoky Mountain who's not went up there. And then Jericho done went to the WWF. So either the guys that I was in Smoky Mountain with was either in WWF or they was at ECW. And I was the only one kind of left. And Smoky Mountain had just folded under. So that's why, everybody was kind of up for grabs there. And I was asked, and after a week of thinking about it, I said no to the juice. And a lot of people said I was stupid. I threw my career away. Maybe so, guys. I mean, maybe if I did that, maybe I could have got closer to that belt. But I could be dead right now, too. So look at how many guys, Chris Candido ain't here no more. Chris Benoit, he was around at that time before he went to WCW. He's gone. I remember wrestling with Chavo and all those guys. It obviously wasn't in the cards for me. So, but no big deal. Like I said, it don't bother me at night. I don't have sleepless nights wondering what I didn't accomplish. Like I said, I took everything that I accomplished back in those days and I put it into the Toy Smuggler and you guys. So we've got a huge future, guys. I got a lot of big, huge things coming up in the future. I just can't tell you right now, but hopefully in the next week or two, I got some major, major announcements I'm hoping to give you guys. So got some things in the works, got some meetings coming up soon. You guys, you guys are in the early stages of the Toy Smuggler. Like I said, guys, some possibilities are coming up. Some things are going to get big. So thank you guys so much for hanging around with me tonight. Listen to these crazy wrestling stories. Just stay tuned. Next Saturday, guys, around 2:00 live in the afternoon. We're going to do Meet the Family. You done met my little crazy girl, and she's whispering in my ear right now, telling me to hurry up. So you get to meet my lovely wife, and you're going to meet some other family members. So I'll get to introduce the rest of the family to you guys. And so I hope you guys will schedule out some time to get to hang out with me then. So, guys, y'all take care. Thank you for joining me tonight. See you guys. That was very